Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Board of Selectmen's meeting on November 15th, 2023. We have Casey sitting in this evening for our town manager. Casey, do we have a need this evening for a non-public for anything?
Mr. Chair, no, we do not.
Thank you. Good. We have no minutes to consider tonight. Next thing on the agenda is a public hearing notice. I'll read it into the record here. The Town of Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen shall hold a public hearing on November 15th, 2023 at their meeting that starts at 6:30 p.m. in the Great Hall of the Town Hall in Wolfeboro, pursuant to RSA 31:95-B, in order to receive public testimony prior to the board voting to accept federal Clean Water Act funds and to enter into a contract with New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and further to authorize the town manager to sign to execute documents which may be necessary to effectuate this contract. Written comments may be submitted to the Board of Selectmen by email to TM Secretary at wolfeboro.nh.us or by mail to the Town of Wolfeboro. The attention of Amy Capone Muccio, Box 629, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire 03894, at any time prior to the hearing. So, what I'll do at this time, I'll open up a public hearing, and board members, we can discuss and see if there's any discussion or not and what we want to do with this, because there's some information we appear to be missing here. Linda.
Yeah, I did. My problem with it is I think the public notice is greatly lacking. It's a 319 grant. I was able to talk to some of the people in the audience. It is for $52,000, and $23,000 has already been approved by the Board of Selectmen. My concern is anybody reading this notice would have no idea what it was about.
Do you know, Linda, is there a time frame that this needs to be acted on?
Nobody,
You know?
can I get Libby up?
Oh, sure, it's a public hearing.
Libby,
so,
you
yeah.
want to come on up and you have the information on it? When does it have to be it's signed by? That's what we're trying to figure out.
I believe it's a grant that's time limited and that it runs out at the end of '24. And what we're hoping to accomplish is to move forward with the engineer who will be doing the work as soon as possible so that we can actually make a few adjustments to the plan, which has changed a bit since the storm in July.
Okay.
So this is all about trying to keep the process moving forward so that work can be accomplished in '24.
Is there a time limit date that the application has to be in?
I've not heard that. I've heard for months that this was all signed, sealed, and delivered, and so this is coming as a bit of a surprise that there's any further steps. It sounds as if the goal is to get this on the governor's desk so that he can sign it and we can officially retain an engineering company to move forward with planning the work for '24.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any chance, can we table this till the next meeting?
Well,
When we
I
have
was
more
thinking that, but
information?
November 27th is the next one that we have, which we were going to do warrant articles, and then the
Right.
next one, regular meeting is the
December
December 6th.
something.
And I don't know whether I thought maybe it had gone through governor and council.
If there was 23,000 already spent, is there any way
No,
we...
23 has been approved.
Did we, okay, so we approved the 23.
Approved it coming out of the water resources or water quality capital reserve account, and we allocated that we would spend as the match to the 52, and my understanding it's a 319 grant, and it looks like we're asking the town, we're not accepting them, apply for and accept these grant funds, and that's my problem, is we're going to accept the grant funds, and we gave no notice to the town, to the people, how much funds we were accepting. That's my problem, because they should have the ability to do that. So I'm, without anybody here who applied for the grant and wrote it, I don't know what the rest of the board wants to do.
I would almost think if we are meeting on, what was that, the 27th, just with
Yeah.
warrant articles, if we, I don't think it'd be a real long hearing here to put this at the beginning of that meeting there to continue this, or actually to re-advertise it, so it's advertised correctly with the amounts on there and stuff, would probably be the correct way to do it.
I agree with you. I think that is the correct way to do it.
I'll make a motion to table this till our 27th meeting.
I'll
Second.
second it.
A motion and a second to table this to our November 27th meeting. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That. Next on our agenda is a bulk vote, and I do have a, if you guys all saw it or not, there was a intent to cut that was placed in our box, I think on Monday. Didn't make it into our packet. But timing, it needs to be acted on tonight, so I'd entertain a motion to add this into our bulk vote.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded by Linda and Luke to add this intent to cut to our bulk vote. That being said, now we have a bulk vote that has a weekly manifest of November 9th for $221,119 and an intent to cut on it. And that's it for the bulk vote. I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve the bulk vote that's amended.
Second.
Motion by Luke, seconded by Linda. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have no board committee or appointments. Under new business, we have an appointment with Wolfeboro Chamber of Commerce, Board of Directors.
Hi, I'm Mary DeVries, and on behalf of the Wolfeboro Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, thank you for meeting with us, and we welcome this opportunity to talk with the full board. And we have several members of the Board of Directors here this evening, and it's my pleasure to introduce the president of our board, Kate LeMay. So Kate's going to talk.
Hello. First off, I just want to say thank you for all your service to our town. You all are great professionals, and I'm just really grateful. Just this little window of watching the Chamber of Commerce, it's a one-year term as president, and just to see the dedication of so many people to make things happen, I just want to say thanks. So we're submitting a letter today, Brad and team here, that is really the intent of it is to share feedback from businesses around having a more constructive relationship with perhaps the selectmen, but overarching, I was looking at an organizational chart, and you're sort of the top of all the things here in our town. And so these are some of the concerns that have been brought to the chamber, and we wanted to make sure that you learned about them. And then the hope would be that we'd have sort of next steps on what you might think a good next step would be, possibly. So I'll read the letter, Brad, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're writing to share growing feedback and concern from some members of the Wolfeboro Area Chamber of Commerce who perceive that some town government and elected officials, and I would, just emphasize some, are not exhibiting a constructive partnership with area businesses and organizations. As a liaison for the business community, we have an obligation to bring to your attention the opinions shared with us that are focused on the following themes and desired results that are not currently being perceived to happen in our current environment. So the 3 bullets are businesses and organizations. We want, obviously, them to thrive in a collaborative approach and in our town. And the detail with that is that there is a current belief that the businesses are not guided through procedural requirements in a collaborative manner and regularly encounter punitive responses that incur exceptional expectations and costs. So just clearer procedural processes are desired. The second is businesses and organizations should be treated with respect and professionalism. So some of the businesses have encountered a common negative culture of communication from the town described as dismissive and unresponsive. So in general, just, I think, common courtesies being exhibited to businesses when they come in to talk about challenges that they're having in town. And the last one is businesses and organizations should feel seen and valued as a part of the community. So there's some detail in here about food trucks and pop-up sidewalk selling that does not provide the same employment benefits or held to the same oversight and costs of doing business. The practice of putting the voice of an individual group or citizen over the support of a business over. I think the intent on this one is just that the businesses want to feel seen and heard and valued. And I know that there are different committees that we're looking at things like the sidewalks, and I think there's lots of collaborative approaches happening, but in general, that this is a desired result. It's just that they feel valued and heard and seen in our town. As an organization, we embody the majority of the local citizen employment. And I'd like to change one sentence that's coming up in this letter because it may be slightly inaccurate, which is that the businesses do not provide a significant portion of the town's tax revenue. So I'm going to change that sentence to our members provide a great deal of cultural value to the community. I think none of us would disagree that our Main Street and our businesses in the town offer a lot of great cultural assets to the community. And our commitment so the chamber has a commitment to a positive and active government relations and has always been a strength and foundation of our commitment. So this is the initial sentence I said, which is just, it is our intent to share this feedback and work with the town leaders to build a constructive and collaborative path in best service to our mutual goals, responsibilities, and overall prosperity and well-being of Wolfeboro. There goes on to say some examples of what the chamber does, which the chamber does government relation emails on current events within town government. We have selectmen representatives. Well, this is a good example of the collaboration. So thus Linda and Luke being on the Chamber of Commerce is a great example of the partnership. Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors has representation on town meetings. I think Mary goes to a lot of those, and other members of the board. And Chamber of Commerce staff reservation of our March quarterly membership meeting for presenting and explaining the warrant articles in cooperation with the planning board. So we use the March quarterly to talk about the warrant articles that are coming up in the town and hopefully educate the community. So in summary, we believe that it is essential to work together to encourage confidence in the local organizations that strive to keep our town's reputation as a coveted destination and long-standing quality of life for all that seek to visit, reside, and maintain their business here. We look forward to your guidance and direction. To that end, we'd like to follow up on this with you so that we can examine this matter together and identify a path that we can explore to bring some awareness and resolution to these public concerns. So really, we're just bringing this awareness to the selectmen and looking for what you'd like to do in the future, and we're offering our help if you'd like that.
Yeah, okay. I guess a couple questions I have here would be, excuse me, are there, I don't want to really pin this down or not, but are there certain, instances or boards and stuff like that that are coming to mind that are of concern and stuff? Or you're looking for more of a general, just more improved communication and, working through as things arise type approach, I guess?
Yeah, I think, Brad, that I think I'm not directly from Wolfeboro, right? So I don't know a lot of all the players in your town. But just my observation in some of the meetings I've been sitting in is that there are some people that are being named by name, but I think that overall the goal would be a general improvement of sort of the businesses having a voice and feeling heard and seen. And so I think it's a combination. Some might be just personalities all over the place. There are so many personalities. I mean, goodness gracious, all of you doing what you're doing every day. So I think it's some like that, and some might be some individuals that might be challenging and might need some counsel on just how to be a little bit better with people. But I would prefer personally not to say names in a meeting like this, and then also just offer that maybe that could be something we explore.
I was kind of wondering, note I jotted down here, thought I had reading the letter, then listening to you read it to us too, was do you think some approach like maybe having quarterly meetings between the chamber board of directors, getting an agenda like you do tonight?
Yeah.
To come in, and that way the things are fresher in everybody's mind and stuff. We're not trying to go back to things that have been, stewing for
I think
a
it's
couple of
great.
years or something
Yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah.
more like for 3 months at a time type
Yes.
thing, and stay on top of and address any, not the feelings, but any type of things that need to be talked out and stuff in communication regards,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I think anything where, you could have some folks come to the chamber meetings. I mean, we do have our 2 representatives. And then also just making sure that the representatives feel empowered in a setting like this. Like, I don't know if the chamber has an agenda item on the Selectmen's group. So, yeah, I think any kind of communications would help, Brad.
Good,
Yeah.
okay.
Brad,
Brian?
we had the EDC, Linda and I are representatives on the EDC, and we had an event last week. Was it last week? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
This weekend,
This past Monday.
Monday.
yes,
This past Monday.
That's right.
Monday.
And
Not
we
last week.
advertised it on the town website. We advertised it on the EDC. We, Linda and I and Lucy Van Cleve walked the entire town and passed out flyers to every single business. We invited every business in town to come to the town hall.
Yep.
We had food supplied and beer and wine and sodas to sit down and talk to us, 2 Board of Selectmen representatives and the EDC, and tell us how we can make business better for you in the town of Wolfeboro.
Yeah.
You know how many people showed up?
Like, not many, right, Brian?
12.
It's
I
hard.
think it was closer to 18.
Yeah.
No, there was,
I think it was.
Was it 18?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
We got,
if you take away the EDC and us 2,
it was a group of.
15,
All right, 15.
maybe 15. But, I mean, that's an example where we tried damn hard.
Yeah.
Yep,
Last year, we had 40.
yep.
And
We
then
did the
this
same
year-
thing. We
And then
walked
this year,
around.
we had 15. And, there's our big olive branch. Come and
Right.
talk to us.
Yeah,
How can
and
we help you? What can we do for you?
And I don't think it's specific at the Board of Selectmen. I think this is like a bigger conversation. It's just we're going to you as the kind of, when I looked at the we as the board, because this is definitely a board letter, it's not just Kate LeMay's letter, is that it's just you're sort of the top of the pile to say, how do we make this better? And so even, I actually think, Brian, your case makes the case too, right? It's like if there's not this dialogue happening between the businesses and the town in a way that's working, and I don't have the answers, but I think what we're saying is, would it be possible for us to support? So like Brad, you're offering solutions, maybe it's a private meeting after this where we talk about what might some solutions look like. I don't know, but I just think we wanted to bring this to your awareness and then try to take an approach where we could work together to make it better.
How many people, Linda, I have a question. How many people do you think are watching this meeting right now on home on TV? 30?
How am I going to know that?
30? We got 6,700 people in town.
Yeah.
And we're having a meeting that affects the town, and we probably have 30 people in the whole town watching us or
Yeah.
something. I mean,
I know. And that's why I said, like, thanks for your service, because someone's got to run the town. And so,
and there's a lot of
yeah.
really important information that comes through our meetings a lot of
Yeah.
times.
I think some of this too is kind of like what we just talked about at the beginning. I think, that example you just put out there, Brian, of that meeting with EDC, those are the type of things, okay, yeah, we had one, didn't get a lot of turnout, but that doesn't mean we stop doing it. I think
Right.
you continue to promote those types of activities, those types of meetings, to encourage, and word of mouth might get out to more. Some of businesses might not have, thought that it was that important or didn't know about it, whatever reason they might have, they might come to the next one. So I think to keep doing that, keep that type of thing on our radar and on an agenda, maybe every 3 months for a meeting
Yeah.
type thing, and then
Yep.
have special ones along the line where there's a work session type thing, round table, whatever you want to call it, I think would be great. Linda?
Yeah, I want to thank the Chamber for giving us this letter and bringing these issues to the forefront. But I have a concern when I see the performance of elected officials. And I want to make sure that you realize that the Board of Selectmen has no authority over any elected official. We have to function as a board, but if I don't like what somebody's doing, I can't do anything about it. What we do have authority over is the running of the government and this board.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about that, then we have something that we can talk about. We have, under RSA 91.8, the authority to oversee the prudential affairs of the town. And we also have the authority to hire and fire the town manager. That's under RSA 37:3. And the town manager has the ability to hire and fire staff. So that's our structure here that we work under. We have no say over the planning board, no say over the ZBA, Conservation Commission, any of those who are elected officials, we don't. So if there are issues with those boards or things, you need to come and have that kind of conversation with them. We can only deal with the general management. One of the things that I found hard about it is I don't have any specifics under these categories.
Yeah,
And so it makes hard, I don't know, who's being negative,
Yeah.
who's not being responsive. It's hard for me, who gets to evaluate the town manager, who gets to evaluate the state. If I don't know who, then how can I help or communicate with that person, or have the town manager communicate, or with a business and organization who is unhappy about how they've been talked to? If we don't know it, it's hard for us to deal with it. So it's kind of like we're talking through a third party.
Yeah.
And it would be easier for me if it was direct communication. I try to go to chamber socials and show up. I run last night Wolfeboro to bring tourists into the community. Brian does Winnipesaukee Day, so I find that we're out there.
Yeah,
And I
think-
don't understand if it's such a culture that you're concerned about that it's not come to my attention.
Yeah, I mean, you were in the meetings, so that we were talking about a lot of
For
this stuff.
2 years, since
Yeah.
I've been a select board member, my personal cell phone, my personal email address, and my town email address is on our town website. And I tell people all the time, 6 in the morning till midnight, let me sleep 6 hours. Anybody calls me, I will talk to anybody about any problem and do whatever I can. If I don't know the answer, I will say, I don't know, and I will go try and find the answer. And then I will bring my information back to the board.
So if you all oversee the town manager, what I might just ask is that there may be some opportunity for some communication with the town manager about communication. And that's, I think, the best I can say, like, the most direct, like.
I also wanted to mention that New Hampshire is a Dillon Rule state. Does anybody know what Dillon Rule state means? What it is it means that we are granted the authority to do what we can do only by state RSA. So they give us regulations that we can follow. There are states that aren't Dillon Rule states where if something is considered you can't do it, everything else is you can do it. In New Hampshire, it doesn't work that way. It tells you you are allowed to do these things as a Board of Selectmen, as a town manager, as a planning board, a ZBA, and if it is not one of those things, you are not allowed to do it. So that's the way we have to operate. So we have to operate within constraints. And it does make our job difficult sometimes.
My name is Daniel Mills. I'm representing PSI Multi-Plastics. I'm a former president and CEO of that company and now currently a board member, and I help out on a number of projects. You talked about examples, and we currently have an issue at PSI where we've run out of electrical capacity. And in order to grow and continue to be successful, we need to add additional high voltage power to the plant. We've had some communication issues with the town management initially to get really responses from them. That's improved. We're moving along the path now, but it was very frustrating for us. Sometimes businesses work at a different speed than towns.
Absolutely.
And we have a different sense of urgency in business. And I'm not being critical, it's just a fact of life.
Yes, it is.
So our concern, obviously, if we don't get electrical power, additional electrical power, we can't grow. And if we can't grow, we can't support our customers' growth. And our customers are going to go elsewhere. They're going to look for other suppliers. If we don't get that ability to grow, PSI Multi-Plastics in Wolfeboro is one of 4 plants in the organization. We have 2 plants in South Carolina, 1 in South Bend, Indiana, and Wolfeboro. If we don't grow, the management is going to, or the ownership will grow these other plants. And we don't want that to happen, because that means we potentially will lose business and lose jobs. Out of the 4 plants, Wolfeboro plant is by far the most profitable. We have a business plan, a business model that works, and we are a very desired supplier. For people that don't know, we mold very large plastic parts. Then we have the ability to paint, decorate, and assemble, which is pretty unique for a large molder. So we're turning away business now because we can't grow, because we can't add presses. So it's urgent that we take a stand here and look to the town for support. So we're looking to partner with the town to work on a grant to support financially the power into the plant. PSI is committed to work with the town in finding a grant writer. We will fund the grant writer. We will do all the legwork. The Northern Borders grant that we're looking at can't go to a private company. It has to go to a municipality. So we need to work with the town of Wolfeboro to make that happen.
So Daniel, I have a question. How did you get back past that initial roadblock?
We just kept on communicating. We just kept on asking the questions and trying to get a response. We had a couple of false starts where people didn't turn up to meetings that were arranged, but that's, that happens. We have met with the town manager and the gentleman that deals with the electric side of things. I don't recall his name now.
Barry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we're on a path, but it was very frustrating to begin with. Mm-hmm.
So correct me if I'm wrong. After having an initial response to the town that was kind of cool, you approached the Board of Selectmen in the EDC.
Correct.
And did they help out?
I believe they did, yes. So I feel that the Board of Selectmen, the EDC, have been very supportive. It was the town management that we had to prod a little bit, and I think that the EDC helped that prod as well. I say we're moving down the path now, but it was just frustrating to begin with that we didn't get that sense of urgency from the town that I'm very passionate about. I want to see jobs stay here in Wolfeboro. I don't want to lose business to competitors because we can't grow. I don't want to lose business because our ownership is going to say, we want to grow, but we're going to grow in South Carolina instead. I want jobs here in Wolfeboro. We employ 140 people, and I ran the plant for 9 years, so I'm very passionate about protecting those people's jobs. And, we got to, rock the boat a little bit of the town to bring us where we need to be, then, so be it. It's the right thing to do. It's not going to cost the town anything. We're prepared to fund the grant writer, fund the process to move it forward.
Have you found a grant writer yet? I knew you guys were looking for one.
Yeah, I've been in contact with a lady that will be able to provide me the information I need. We have a wetlands issue that we're dealing with right now. We have wetlands by the side. We want to run poles down that side, so we have to get permits from the state of New Hampshire to be able to do that. So we've just spent $20,000 in getting a consultant in to deal with the wetland issue and then work with the state to get that permit to be able to do that. So we're actively working, we're spending money, we're committed, and I'm passionate about it. Okay. We really want to save these jobs. We want to grow and add more jobs. I can add 3 more large presses. Large meaning, I think some have seen the plants, the 2,500-ton presses. Not many plants have that size press.
And you do a lot of medical equipment, correct?
Yeah, medical enclosures, Fortune 500 companies like GE Healthcare, Siemens, Smith Medical, they're all our customers. We export around the globe. We export to South America, we export to Singapore, China, Canada, and Mexico. So we're a global company in Little Wolfeboro, and we're a hidden gem out there.
So it sounds like you had a kind of a rocky start to this thing, but you've kind of worked through some of these issues that we're talking about tonight, and now you're able to proceed along.
We're broken through, and I think we're going to move along the path. But I think we wanted to really highlight the concern about, and it's just not PSI, there's some other entities as well, and I'm sure there'll be examples talked about eventually. But right now, I think from a PSI point of view, we have a roadmap where we want to go, and we're going to move down that path.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to kind of reiterate, if I could, the tone of the letter as far as it's not directed at what are the selectmen doing or not doing. You're our voice. We go to you to be our voice, and then we actually state in writing to businesses that we will advocate for business at town hall. So sometimes I don't pretend to know why someone does or doesn't attend a meeting or participate or speak up, but we do tell businesses that we will do that on their behalf. And so we do believe that that is a part of that, that if someone else isn't standing here and writing a letter and speaking to you, it's because they're counting on the Chamber of Commerce to do that. So, there's I guess I just wanted to say, we're not, the things that the Board of Selectmen, as an example, the Board of Selectmen are doing great. They're great. This doesn't take away from all the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I leave, Brad? Or? Yes, what would you like?
I guess to kind of just move forward a little bit through this and everything. As you've pointed out in your letter too, there are a number of committees and stuff we look for volunteers from the community to be on. And I know we've had a lot of representation from chamber members and stuff on these. So I'm hoping that that's a positive there, that the word gets out that there's interest in the business community to serve on some of these committees, one of them being now the newer one we just getting going with the sidewalk committee and stuff, really directly affects a lot of the core businesses downtown, things like that. So So I think, there's definitely a lot of good things going on right now and stuff, and, and I'd like to, build on that, I guess. And,
Yeah, I think that's a good sentiment.
maybe, having a quarterly meeting might be a step there, and more ideas would come out.
Right.
I think if you have some specific issues with certain type boards that don't want to be aired in the public forum, because we have meetings like this, they have to be in a public meeting
Yeah.
with the board. But if there are issues, you're more than welcome to, email or send letters to the town manager or individually to the attention of the board to
Yep.
see if we address it through the town manager. And that way it's not being played out in a public forum and stuff, something might be able to be addressed directly in that way, so.
Okay.
Any other
Lynn?
comments,
Oh,
Luke?
go ahead, Luke.
I think it's important to remember that, for the chamber to send us a letter like this where they outline, many of the things that we've all heard about, from time to time. I think that it highlights, the interaction and, the way that we can hope that town government works in such a way that it is approachable and helpful to area businesses and to the people that make Wolfeboro what it is. And I think that it is a reminder that, that people that work in town government or us, that we have an obligation to make sure that the citizens have a voice and that it'll be heard. And I think this letter, though it doesn't outline key areas and people, I think it gives it's an overall tone that just needs to be remembered that, we're all here to serve the citizens, and that, for the chamber to write this, sometimes when you're in government, I find this, people don't necessarily come to us, but they will approach the chamber, and they'll share their stories, and they'll share their voices. For instance, the PSI plastic, I didn't know about that until I was actually at a chamber meeting. I hadn't heard about that issue. So I feel like I'm pretty close to the pulse of Wolfeboro in some ways. I think it's important. I think this letter is important for us to really take to heart, and to it's a good reminder for all of us.
Thanks, Luke.
Yes, I'm a little bit more pushy here tonight. I guess when I have something that says the practice of putting voices of individual groups or citizens over the support of business owners, to me, that's a pretty big statement to make about what we're doing as a town. And that, when you come back, I definitely need clarity on that.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's significant.
Yeah.
And and that, I'm getting that feedback from you, and I get it, but I don't have any way to do anything or understand where it's coming from or why that feeling is there. That, I think, is my hardest thing with this. I can't get to why the feelings are there and how to address them, so.
Yeah.
Linda, we were talking as the EDC about having a spring event to kick off the business season in Wolfeboro. So it kind of stalled a little bit, and I think it stalled a little bit more after our last event that we had the other night. But I would reach out to you and say, maybe come to one of our EDC meetings.
Yep.
They're 9 o'clock in the morning, and I know you work, and I do too. And see if maybe we can get a event like that for the springtime, where a lot of members will come. And if we do that twice a season, in the spring and in the fall, that's the place. I'll say bad word. It can be a bitch session.
Yeah.
Well,
It can be. People can complain, and they can say, that's why we had the event, so that we could have the
Yes.
strengths, the weaknesses, and the threats of how it is to have a business in Wolfeboro.
And the last year, our questions were, what went well this summer, what didn't work? And then we got feedback, and the EDC worked on those things were brought up in the meeting. So you may be right, we may need to take a look at doing something in the in the spring, because that gives us the feedback, and it helped drive the goals of the EDC last year, was what we heard.
And we found a lot of, not this year's, but last year's, there was a good feedback from the 40 people that were there that said they found so many common grounds among other businesses, even businesses that were not related. And they said it was nice to connect with people and see faces for businesses that they hadn't talked to before in town.
Yeah.
And it created some rapport among business members.
Again, I think, Casey, you wanted to make a comment?
I believe, Kate, you said that you'd be interested in meeting with the town manager. I'm not the town manager,
Yeah.
and I'm not speaking for
Sure.
him, but who would be in that room? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
as Selectman Murray said, if it has to do with some other board or committee, this group has nothing to do with it, but the town manager might. If it has to do with those 5 department heads, then the town manager is the right person.
Yep.
So that is my opinion where you should start, but who would be in the room? And if you could give me that feedback, I could take it back to him.
Sure. Yeah, and I think actually part of what we were coming to do is sort of say, there is some challenges. We actually don't know I'm like, who should be in the room? Who would you like from the, who should you want from the chamber in the room? It's just if the challenge was with the town manager, I'm just saying like a sentence, that question, would we start with the selectmen
Yes.
to have this conversation?
Yes.
So I think a little bit of that is part of what we're talking about. And I don't think it's catastrophic. I just think there needs to be a conversation from what I was hearing. And this is Jim. Do you want to speak? This is just one of the
in terms
examples.
of time, and we're talking about bringing in,
Can you-
maybe having more meetings.
Can you introduce yourself?
I own the Wolf Trap, Jim McDevitt.
Okay, thank you.
So, as we know, it's difficult enough right now to operate a business. Most of us are working 7 days a week. So for us to be involved in the chamber or town boards, it's a lot. So to add more meetings, saying, oh, well, maybe we should do this. So what we're suggesting is we stay within our organization, not create more meetings to go to, but maybe have some representation from the town, and possibly the town manager, to come to some of the chamber meetings, as the prior town manager did. But we have not seen this current town manager. And I know they're super busy as well, but I think
Have you reached out to our town manager?
I have, yes, for
To
some
come-
issues that I have.
No,
Yeah.
to come to the meetings.
No, but to specifically about, you're asking for specifics. We didn't feel that it was appropriate to single out people here. We were hoping that we would get
Oh, no,
a
but you
meeting
can-
where we
but-
could discuss things maybe a little bit further,
Yeah,
but
you
there
can-
are certainly issues.
You can invite me to a chamber meeting. I've never been to one. We have 2 representatives, but if I went, then we would have a technical meeting, and it would have to be posted different. I'm not sure how it would work, but you can reach out to anybody in the town.
Right, but I suggested the town manager to come to the meetings, right? The issue I think we're having is more with the town itself and how the town is run, not the selectmen, but some of the departments within the town. And we didn't think it was appropriate for us to come here and single out specific people with specific events that have happened, but they have happened. So I think that what we're trying to do is find a way to go forward that is constructive with you all, because basically you're in charge of the structure of the town. So we felt that was the best way to handle this.
Or
Yeah.
a first step.
A first step, yeah.
And I feel too, any of your board members there and stuff, if they have a question, you're not sure who to go see about the issue or whatever it is you want to talk about.
Right.
I don't think it's a bad thing to reach out to any one of us individually and say, we have this thought coming on, who should we talk to about this?
Right.
That way, if it's, we could guide you, a person, whoever you talk to could guide you to the town manager, or say, oh, you should come to a Board of Selectmen meeting to discuss that one, or, you could get that kind of guidance on a phone call to any one of us, and that type of communication, I think, is the type of stuff you're looking for, so, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Yeah, so that's great.
Get somebody behind you.
Hi, I'm Corinne Ferguson from the Wolfeboro Food Co-op, and I want to thank you, Brian and Linda, for hosting that event that I couldn't attend, and neither of my people could have attended. And we received the information on a very small piece of paper, and it really wasn't that much information. I was out of town, but I couldn't tell my staff exactly what is it they're going to do at this meeting, because there was no agenda and there really weren't any specifics. At least, I'm sorry, I might have missed them, but I didn't see them. So another time, if there could be just a little bit more information on that flyer, I probably could have got other board members or other staff members to go to the meeting, and I really wanted to go, and I'm so sorry I couldn't.
Oh, it's okay.
That's a small thing just about communication, because communication is so critical, and sometimes we all think that people hear what we think they're hearing, and we don't. So thank you for doing that. It's important, and I'm so sorry that you had a low turnout.
I want to just clarify, it was the EDC. It was a committee of the Board of Selectmen, the EDC, and Brian and I just like walking around. Yep.
Relative to, I'll just take this moment too, while we have the Chamber's ear here a little bit, I guess, is to say. I was going to do this in other business later on, but hopefully you're aware, there's going to be a meeting on Monday evening at 6 o'clock, Steve, is it? For all the stakeholders that are going to be affected by the new water line that's going to be installed on South Main Street here, from Pickering Corner down to the bridge at Smith River. We're having this public forum input session there so that all the businesses can attend, ask questions, find out how they're going to be affected, express their concerns, questions, all that kind of stuff. We're holding it for that reason. So we're hoping that, a lot of the businesses along this route here are going to be there. Now, we're not limiting it. I mean, it's going to be a public meeting, so anybody's welcome to come and stuff there. But we're hopefully going to just take the input from the stakeholders themselves. Then later on, before it starts too, we'll be having more of a broader public forum where all be open to input from the entire town for affecting people traveling in and out of town, for traffic flows and things like that. But the first one we're having on Monday is going to be kind of geared toward the business owners themselves and how it's going to affect them during the phases of construction down through there. So.
Thank you. And I think one of our commitments is to help take whatever's learned in that meeting and make sure that it's communicated to the members to try to be in partnership to say, so that people are very aware of what's about to happen. So thank you for letting us know that. That's great, Brad.
Yep.
Yeah, good communication.
There you go. We'll start.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else?
That's it for now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on. Next on our agenda is our budget report.
Would you like me to go up there?
No, you can do it from right there if you'd like, Casey.
Doesn't take long usually.
Yeah. Catherine Carpentier, Finance Director for the Town of Wolfeboro. Before you is your monthly financial report for the month ended October 2023. The general fund operating budget is currently at 89%, which is slightly above the 10-month average of 84%. The revenues for the general fund are at 81% with anticipated bond proceeds and the use of fund balance. Unfortunately, we are still waiting for the DRA to set the tax rate. We do see some positive revenues, though. Motor vehicles at 92%, which is great, and interest is at $377,000. It's been a few years since we've been able to really realize interest. On the other funds, water fund operating budget expended is at 87%, electric is at 83%, sewer is at 94%, Pop Whalen is at 106%. The rest, estimated revenues for the water fund are at 100% with the water charges at 90%. Electric fund is at 84%, sewer fund is at 93% with the sales, residential sales at 77%. And Pop Whalen's at 50%. The town piece has only been booked 25% to Pop Whalen, And we also have a lot of back-end revenue coming in because October, November, December is when the hockey revenue starts coming in. Some of the other things you like to hear about, oil is at 63%, gas is at 64%, diesel is at 90%. Some of that could be in the tanks waiting to be used. Legals is at 82%. None of those are worrisome at this time. Overtime, unfortunately, is a little worrisome, but the department heads are actively covering the expenditures. The general fund is at 100%. Water fund is at 100% spent, electric at 90%, and sewer at 64%. Some of that also could be offset by open positions. Another area of concern, but we're finding funds, welfare is at 99%. Due to some subsidies implemented following COVID that are no longer in place, we're paying very high rents. If you have any other further questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I just have one comment. When we were looking at the overtime and there's dispatch and it's 137%, and then I looked at the part-time wages and that's really down. So some of that is covered. So I'm not concerned about this overtime because I was able to look and see that their part-time wages were down. So sometimes that happens with overtime.
Yes, it happens all year long. If you have open positions, you're going to have savings here. If you have somebody go out on, workers' comp or short-term disability, so it looks like overtime's overspent, but you sometimes have favorability somewhere else. And then if you don't, as the manager, you're supposed to be cutting back here, there, or everywhere to cover that.
Yep.
Or bring it to the town manager's attention, and we do not have anybody waving a flag at this point. So thank you for that conversation. I think I'm all set.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you, Casey.
You're welcome.
Next on our agenda is other business. Linda.
Yeah, I was glad to see that came from Jim, I think yesterday or the day before, that we got the groundwater discharge permit for the RIB site. It's a 5-year permit. Daily flow average is at 340,000 gallons, and the maximum volume is 425,000. So that takes care of that one. It's been a long time coming.
Thank you, Linda. I had two things on there. One we just spoke about, well, the chamber was still here, about the South Main Street water line project in the meeting on Monday evening. Another one I just want to touch base on quickly is yesterday we had the bid openings for the Mill Street Pump Station project. Went very well. We had 4 bids came in on it, and 2 of them came under the engineer's estimated cost for the project, which is very good news. So it looks like it's coming in under budget. The bids are currently in the hands of the engineers to be, for their analysis to go through them. They'll come back to the town for recommendation, and we're hoping to have an award probably mid-December, I would say, around that time frame, be able to award the contract on that, so in about 3 or 4 weeks. Is there any other business? Seeing none, committee reports. Brian.
We had a budget committee, we had our EDC event. I can't remember if I had anything else.
Sidewalk.
Oh, and we had our sidewalk committee, which the sidewalk committee is doing very, very well. We have a good chair of the committee, and lots of good ideas and staying on focus.
Luke?
I didn't have any, we have a police commission tomorrow night.
I had the EDC business recap. I had the library trustees meeting. I joined Brian not only for the sidewalk committee, but we got to go to the budget committee and review Park and Rec.
The only meeting I had since our meeting on Thursday was this morning at a Wolfeboro Community TV meeting. Dave?
Yeah, I had a Conservation Commission meeting the other morning, Monday, and this morning there was a bench dedication for Ed Roundy at the Town Gardens. There's a really nice granite bench there now, with his name on it and all the different committees that he was on. So
Oh, nice. Yeah.
that was, that's all I had.
All right, thank you, Dave. Town managers report?
Jim didn't give me anything, but I have a couple notes. Budget committee meetings, we've completed 2 so far. We've done welfare, electric, parks and rec, Abenaki, and Popwellen. There are no budget committee meetings next week because it's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. The next meeting for the budget committee is tomorrow, Thursday night at the library at 6 p.m. to discuss police department. And just so it's said out loud, the BoS added a meeting for a second review of warrant articles on Monday, November 27th at 6:30 in the Great Hall. And last, CIP process review meeting tomorrow. The committee decided after it was all done to just go back and see what we did well and what we didn't do well. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Questions from the press? Do we have, is Alyssa online with us this evening?
Yes, she is, and she just put her mic on.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us, Alyssa?
Alyssa, if you can hear us, we can't hear you.
I think we've had that problem a couple times. We should probably check that out.
Yeah, it does. I can see the mic going on, so she is talking, but
You know what, she could text me.
would you like to text Linda Murray your
Or-
questions?
or with her, if she's got a question.
Linda, I'm going to go to the grand opening of the residence at Back Bay for Taylor Community tomorrow.
Yeah, and I told them I couldn't, I'll just go
So
independently.
I'll go to that and skip
Okay.
out as the alternate for the CIP.
Yep.
Is she?
I haven't gotten anything yet.
Yep, okay. Well, we'll move on to public input. If she sends us something, we can address it before we adjourn.
Okay.
Hopefully she heard that. So I'll go into public input now. Oh, Steve?
Maybe I missed this. I thought we were going to circle back around to the Whitegate study tonight.
I asked Jim about that and to put it on the agenda and to speak to you. I went in on Monday and said I thought we were to do it today.
So I thought that we were supposed to be on the agenda for
So
tonight.
did I.
No.
And I asked him.
All right.
If you'd like to speak to it?
So I did. I met with Casey. I met with Jim. We redid the wording to get clarification. So I have a new thing that I'd like to read and see if that works.
Sure.
We're looking to fund the Whitegate study with a cost of $80,000. We will be reimbursed $40,000 from the Lake Winnipesaukee Association grant once the project is completed. I would like to have approval to use $40,000 from the Water Resources Non-Capital Reserve Fund and $40,000 from the general fund account to start the first phase of the Whitegate study. This work with the Lake Winnipesaukee Association's grant for water quality.
I'm absolutely fine with that. I think that makes sense. Our problem was if we took all of it out of the water capital reserve account and they paid us back, we couldn't get it back into the water fund. So the way if that's a motion, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Yes.
Motion and a second to approve $40,000 to come out of the water resource fund?
Yeah, water resource capital reserve.
Capital Reserve Fund.
Non-capital reserve fund.
Non-capital reserve fund, that's
Non-capital,
right,
that's right.
non-capital
Thank you.
reserve fund.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, for bringing that to our attention. Public input.
Suzanne Ryan, resident taxpayer. I was a little bit put off by that letter from the chamber. I was surprised by it, actually. And I think that credit needs to be given where credit's due. And they may have a communication problem, but I think it's on their end, which is obvious that Linda had to explain how town government works as a board. I think they have a learning curve upon themselves as well. And this board has supported many, if not all, of their requests. You have improved the downtown area, and thanks to the taxpayers, but you proposed these things. You've done dockside, parking lot, you beautified that, new docks for the boating.
New bathrooms.
The big municipal parking lot years ago. I mean, there isn't anything you haven't tried to do to support the chamber and the businesses. And I don't think that should be overlooked, even though I'm a taxpayer and hate to spend the money. But you got to do what you got to do. So, but I think one component was left out of this that's important. On their, I was looking up stuff, if you saw, I had my little iPad with me. On their webpage, they have a lot of stuff. But one thing that caught my eye was that they promote to their business people and probably new businesses coming in, they promote on the website business work in cooperation with the Wolfeboro Planning and Development Department. And I think that component wasn't even talked about tonight. It was talked about the town manager, and it was one case about one department. But I think that they're missing the boat if they don't take the initiative to go to the planning department and find out how things work. Because I think there's some misunderstandings along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne.
My name is Josephine Amatucci. I intend next month to start a raffle in our We the People's Public Library. And if this town has no legal right to stop me as a representative of the people in holding this raffle, then I will go there and I will put my property for the raffle and start a raffle in the library. Now, libraries function as community centers. They're public spaces. They're a community outreach. My 2020 raffle is an outreach for the poor. 50% will go to the winner of the raffle, and 50% will go to the poor only of this town. And there is no one that is going to stop me from running that lottery to help the poor who are in dire need of help these days. Now, it is the interest of our citizens to come together to serve the common good. Libraries are a suitable environment to impact philanthropy on community well-being. And that's what this mechanism is all about. It's about the community needs. And unless you people can come up with a reason to stop me, you're not going to stop me. I'm going to go inside that library next month, and I'm going to put there what's needed, you know, a raffle machine. I'm going to put, I have the pictures of the machines where the people will put their money, $5, which will be put on, it'll be put on one of the tables before you get inside the library. That's another thing. It's that table before you get inside the library. There's going to be the place to put the $5, and then there's going to be a ticket machine where you take out a ticket. And there's going to be no people to run it. It's going to be run by the people. An honor system. It's going to be an honor system. There's going to be a camera, however, to watch the people to make sure they're not robbing or stealing or taking more tickets than they should. So there is no way. The people own the library, by the way. You might own the building like I own my house in the back. But my tenant owns what goes on inside that house. And that's how it is with the library. You might own the building, but you have nothing to do with what the people want inside that library, where the people's money supports that library. It belongs to them, to their needs. Now, the Board of Trustees and the town might overlook how to run the library, you know, where the books are supposed to go and manage it. But they do not run the people's right to do what they want inside that library. As long as it does not interfere with the library personnel or with anybody, which it will not, because the people are going to come in right outside the door. There's a table there outside where they're giving out free books. We're going to use that table, and the people are going to deposit $5 and take a ticket and leave. They're not going to go inside the library at all. So, and there's no solicitation because there's going to be nobody there but the box, the drop box for the money, and to get the ticket. There's going to be nobody there. So there's no solicitation involved. Now, I want you to tell me if you're going to interfere with the people going inside that library and putting that box, that money deposit box, which I'm going to buy, and then the tickets, which I'm going to buy, and there's going to be a poster board telling the people what to do, which is simple, just put your money here and take a ticket. And there's going to be a video camera to watch what they're doing, to have some kind of control over the people. But the people are going to be honest because they realize that their money is for the poor. And I want to know now if and how you, the town, are going to stop the people from putting a raffle in their library. It's their library. You have nothing to say except to manage it. I want to know what you have to say now, because I'm going in November, and I have pictures of the machine that I'm going to buy. What? I have pictures of the.
You're going to spend your money to buy
I am.
before you even know if you can do it?
No, I can do it. I'm telling you, nobody's going to stop me. I can do it. I know what I have the rights. Nobody's going to take the people's rights away from them, especially government. Every day, government is taking all our rights away from us. It's about time that we demand what's ours. So these are the drop boxes. And these are for the tickets. They're going to press the button here, and a ticket will come out. It's going to be very simple. They put the money and they leave. But you know what? It's going to do so much for people. I mean, let's take the ordinary person that has enough money just to get by. They can win, because there's going to be, there's 6,000 people in Wolfeboro. There's going to be only 6,000 tickets sold. That's 15,000 for the poor and 15,000 for the winner. Do you know what a poor person can do with $15,000 and for only $5 that they pay for it? It can change their whole life. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna change their life. And nobody is gonna stop us. No government that is controlling every move we make these days are gonna control this move. Now, do you have any legal right to stop me? Because I'm going in.
I'm going to read into the minutes here a couple letters that have been sent to you. First one was by me on October 23rd, 2023.
No, listen,
No, let me
I
answer.
just want you to answer my question. I don't want to hear your stories.
It's not a story. This is a letter that was sent to you
No,
in answer to your...
my question's simple. Are you going to stop me, and under what legal right are you going to stop me? That's all. I want to hear just that answer.
That's exactly what
Don't
this letter
read papers.
says. That's
Don't
exactly what
read
this letter
papers.
says.
I want just a simple answer. Are you going to stop me, and under what legal right do you have to stop the people from doing what they want in their library?
Josephine, you should let him read it if that's what he's going to, the town's going to take that position. The people who are listening should be
Why
able
does
to
he
hear.
have to read it? Why can't he
Because
just talk?
the people
Want to hear it.
hear it, so
So
let
here
him
we go.
do that.
Yeah,
At
let
the-
him talk, but don't read anything.
He would like to read it.
I'm going to read it
We let you
the way
do
it was written
yours.
to you into the record
No,
here. At the October 18th, 2023 Board of Selectmen meeting, a lengthy discussion was held regarding your request to
No, I
conduct a
don't wanna
raffle
hear all
at the
that.
Wolfeboro
I
Public
know all
Library.
that.
There was
I know all that.
Point
there
of
was-
order.
We're reading this into the minutes so that people on TV can hear
No,
what's going on, Josephine.
It doesn't matter.
So I'm going to
what-
finish reading it.
It doesn't matter.
There was no approval granted to you to hold a raffle at the library. The consensus of the board is that approval for you to hold a raffle at the library will not be granted. It was explained to you that even to be considered for a permit, that you needed to have a nonprofit agency partner with you and then apply under their name to conduct a raffle on town-owned property. Signed by
Okay.
Brad Harriman, Chairman, Wolfeboro Board of
Okay.
Selectmen.
Then there was another letter by you.
No, that's the
Right.
only one I sent.
Now, I don't have to, I spoke to the state. I am not a non-profit organization, which means I don't have to pay taxes. A non-profit organization has to be licensed by the state. What they told me, the state told me, is they have nothing to do with raffles. That the town, you people, have control over raffles. He's talking about, not about raffles, lotteries. You're talking about lotteries. Honey, tell all the people, don't let them
Josephine, talk to us.
don't let us.
Talk to us up
don't
here.
let them run us, honey. Get the word out. Now, they told me that state has nothing to do with raffles, that it's under the control of your municipality, and you, the people, told me, and the people can go on television and see the meeting. I'll tell you the date where they told me I can run a raffle. And the people will see it. I'll give you the date that I was told I can run a raffle by this town. You all told me I can run a raffle, right?
No,
Am
we
I-
did not.
All right?
Give
Now,
me-
people, get on your computer, wait a minute, and I'm gonna tell them what date to look on the computer to see where you said January 18, 2023, people. He said, do it yourself, you can do it. We give you the right to do your raffle, but you have to do it yourself, and no town employee has to assist you. Hello? Don't tell me you didn't see that. I
Nope.
want everybody to get January 18, 2023 Selectmen meeting on the computer. I want the people to come here. If they ever bother me, next month when I go in that library with the people and set up, simply put a machine to put, a raffle machine to put the money in, and a ticket dispenser. That's all I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna put what the people have to do, you know, advise them, and I'm gonna have a camera. And nobody in this town is going to stop me. They're running our whole lives.
Board members, do we want to make a motion, take a vote on this, or just end it right like it is now?
They don't want it done. They must be getting money somewhere. I'm gonna find out.
Motion to adjourn, or motion to deny this, just put it to bed.
Okay.
You just-
Do you want me to make that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I make a motion to deny allowing Josephine to hold a raffle in the library.
Okay, I want to know what you're going to do
That's
when
my-
I go
that's
in
Do
the
I have a,
library.
do I have a
don't
second on
need-
that?
I don't need your okay.
Do I have a second on that?
I need the people.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to deny, for Josephine to hold a raffle at the Wolfeboro Public Library. Any other
Okay,
discussion?
and for what reason? For what reason?
See no other discussion?
I-
All those in
I want a
favor?
reason.
Aye.
I want
Opposed?
a reason why you're denying me. The people have to know. Why you denying
I'd like to
us?
make a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Could I?
Why are you
Okay.
denying me this right? I
okay.
have the right to know.
The Granite State News Thanksgiving deadline is Monday at noon, and that's from Melissa. And then I make
Mr.
my
Harriman.
motion to adjourn.
That is
Tell the
correct.
people-
Motion
Mr.
made and
Harriman,
seconded
tell the
to
people
adjourn.
why you
All in favor?
denying.
Aye.
Mr.
Opposed?
Harriman,
Thank you very
why
much.
are you denying?